Joseph Parker has indicated that the Saudis would like him to fight on the Joshua Ngannou undercard in March. He said they put a number of names to him, and he said yes to all of them. One of the names, according to Parker, was Filip Hrgovic. And Hrgovic has caught wind of this and responded with the following. He said, "I've heard that Joseph Parker wants to fight me in March on the Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou undercard. I'm very happy to hear that. I'm ready. I accept your offer, Joe. Let's do it. Let's go, baby. Let's get down. Let's get down to business. See you soon." All right, those are the words of Filip Hrgovic. Now, it is a little surprising to see Filip Hrgovic being willing to risk his mandatory position. He's mandatory with the IBF, and he's been mandatory for quite some time now. It is a little surprising seeing him willing to risk that position, given the fact that his last fight was also in Saudi Arabia, of course, against Mark Demori in a complete mismatch. I thought that that was a measure of the type of risk he's willing to take while he waits for his title shot from here on in, because of course he did fight Dempsey McKean while he was waiting for his title shot, and that was a much more risky fight than the likes of Mark Demori, of course. However, the Saudis, I'm assuming, are offering Filip Hrgovic a crazy paycheck to potentially fight somebody like a Joseph Parker on the Joshua Ngannou undercard, in which case he might feel that it's too great an offer to turn down, even if he risks his mandatory position and getting a title shot. Now, if Joseph Parker were to go in there and beat Filip Hrgovic and Anthony Joshua beats Francis Ngannou, we could be faced with the prospect of a rematch between Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker for potentially the vacant IBF heavyweight title. Now, for me, that's not an ideal scenario. I would rather see matchups that we haven't seen before. Don't get it twisted. If both guys come through and they fight for, let's say, the vacant IBF, I'm talking about AJ and Parker here, particularly Parker will have earned his position. So I'm not grumbling from that perspective. I'm just grumbling from the perspective of a boxing fan who wants to see a wide variety of matchups, not just rematches. Now, given Parker's performance against Deontay Wilder, which was a very good performance, some might argue a career best performance, I think it's certainly not beyond the realms of possibility that Parker could beat Filip Hrgovic. Hrgovic is a good fighter. He's a strong puncher. He's got a good chin. Filip Hrgovic doesn't have the quickest feet in the world. His feet were a lot quicker earlier on in his career when he was much lighter than he is now. But in the 240s, high 240s, 250, whatever he is now, Filip Hrgovic can't move the way that he used to. He's still a relatively young heavyweight. I think him and Joseph Parker are maybe around the same age. Obviously, Parker's got a lot more miles on the clock, but he looked plenty fresh against Deontay Wilder. So that, I think, is a dangerous fight for both, of course, but particularly dangerous for Filip Hrgovic, right? He's IBF mandatory, fights Parker. Let's say he gets outpointed, then that heavyweight championship goes up in smoke. So let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section below. Filip Hrgovic potentially fighting Joseph Parker on the undercard of Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou. Who would you pick in that fight? Would you be going with Hrgovic, or would you be going with Joseph Parker to potentially outpoint the big man? Let me know.